Hooty hoo, all my stock market gamblers. Welcome today. I'm Tall Mike. So glad you're here. What do we got going on? Well, let's start with the NASDAQ, right? The NASDAQ, the QQQs is what I actually have a short position on. So anyways, it made its high back in July, right? And it came up, made a double top. Now, it never took out that high. Now, I got a lot of messages from a lot of people that the NASDAQ made a new high. The composite made a new high, but the Qs never made a new high. Still hasn't taken out that high. My contention is that high is still going to hold. Could I be wrong? Absolutely, I could be wrong. But the Qs, we came down from July and we came back up and we're retesting the high, right? And now we're pulling down off the high. That is a classic double top. A double top is a pattern that usually happens, obviously at the top of the market, right? And my contention is that the NASDAQ has already entered a bear market. It's entered a bear market back in July, and I think this will play out, right? So we came down, we came up, the Qs did not make a new high, and now we're coming down and we're going lower. Now, can we come out and take out that high? Sure, it's possible. Could I be wrong? Absolutely, I could be wrong. But that's just my take. I'm betting to the downside. There was just too much complacency in this market. Nobody thought it could go down. It's impossible. That's where I start to look at and go, maybe, just maybe it can go down. We'll see how it plays out. Maybe they push it up to a new high here. The market, a lot of times at the tops, take a long time to play out before they turn down. We'll see how it goes. But I got a small short position on, and so far I'm up on that trade, and we'll see how that all plays out. Now, I want to talk today about, first of all, I want to let you know that I cannot help everybody, right? I mean, I'm not here to tell you what to do. Look, if you want to be in the NASDAQ, please, it takes two sides to make a market. Someone's got to bet up, someone's got to bet down. That's what makes the market. Just because I'm betting down doesn't mean you have to bet down. You can think the market's going up. You could be a moon boy. Perfectly acceptable, right? That's your opinion. That's your opinion, and it's just my opinion that the market's going to go down. Look, if you want to go out and buy a house right now, please go out and buy a house. I don't want to stop you. Look, I'm a realtor. I get that. I think it's a dumb idea to buy a house right now. Now, buying a house is a very personal decision, right? There's different reasons why people buy houses, and there's different reasons why they sell houses. So you have to make the decision for yourself. Do I think it's a bad time right now to buy a house? Yes, I think it's a bad time to buy a house. Because why? Because they're not affordable, right? But if you want to go out and buy one, I'm not going to stop you. I'm a realtor. Realtors need the business. Please go out and buy one. What I'm saying is that you got to make your own decisions, right? And just because I think the market's going to go down doesn't mean that it will. I don't know the future. I just have an educated guess, right? Now, I got this class. I got this one gentleman. He always likes to tell me how wrong I am, right? I mean, he's telling me that I should have all my money in the NASDAQ. I think he's got all his money in the NASDAQ. Now, his reason for this is different than my reasons as to why I'm shorting it, but he thinks I'm an idiot for being in gold. I don't care, right? I'm in gold. That's what I'm doing. If you don't want to buy gold, don't buy gold. I'm not selling you anything. I'm not selling gold. I'm not trying to pump up the price of gold. My market's very small. Gold's trillions and trillions of dollars in market cap. I do not influence the price. Just because I think gold's a good buy here doesn't mean you have to do it, right? I'm not selling gold. Don't go buy gold if you don't want to buy gold. But every comment he's got, right, is telling me that I should be in the NASDAQ, which I'm short, and I should be shorting gold instead because that's going to plunge. And he says this is all because of the power of the Federal Reserve. And he says I'm underestimated. This would be what's called the Fed put. He's claiming if the NASDAQ goes down, the Fed will come in and start buying the NASDAQ. Now, people say, but Mike, the Fed can't buy the NASDAQ. They don't buy stocks. And legally, they cannot buy stocks, right? They can only buy things that are backed by the government, which would be, it started with just bonds, right? And then the mortgages got backed by the government, so they could buy mortgages. You're correct. Legally, they cannot buy stocks. How do they do it? It's called the Plunge Protection Team. Plunge Protection Team's a real thing. You can Google it, right? They have a trading desk. They buy the stock market. Now you say, but Mike, where's the Plunge Protection Team get all their money from? I would argue that it's from the Federal Reserve, but I really don't know. There is a plunge protection team. They go in and buy the market when it's plunging. It's called the Fed put, right? So the Fed's got to put that if the market comes down, the Fed's going to go in and buy. And I believe they will. But what is this doing, right? They buy it, they print money, and they go in and they buy it. Okay, that's my take. I'm sticking to that, right? So when the market comes down, they're going to print a heck of a lot of money, and they're going to try to prop the market up. But it's not working now. That's what I'm saying. That's why I'm betting it to come down. Now, granted, you can look at what the Fed's doing, right? The Fed, they cut 50 basis points. And what did this do? Well, it made the long end of the bonds go up higher. It's not working what they're doing. They're going to try to print money, but that's not working. It used to be for every dollar we printed, we get $3 back in GDP, right? Gross domestic product. Now we have to print $3 just to get $1 back. It's getting less and less effective. It's like pushing on a string. It doesn't work anymore. So the Fed printing money is actually why I am in the gold market. Now he gets upset because I tell him gold is outperforming the stock market. It's outperformed the stock market for the last 20 years. And you can go back and look at this. Look at 20, I've been stacking gold for 20 years now. Now back in 20 years ago, gold was about 300 and now we're about 3,000 for a physical ounce, down around 2,700, but you got to pay the premium. So it's up around 3,000, right? So you go from 300 to 3,000. That's 10x, 10 times. What has the Dow done? Dow was at 10,000 20 years ago, 10,000. What's it done? It's gone up to 40,000. That's 4 times. Would you rather have 10x return or 4x return? It's simple math. I'll take the 10x. But a lot of people can't grasp this. I don't know why. They say, but Mike, if you go back to 1980, the Dow has outperformed gold. And yes, it has. A lot of you weren't even alive in 1980. A lot of you weren't trading in 1980. I was alive. I was a trader in 1980. I know all of this. In 1980, it was time to buy the stock market. Now, why? Why was it time to buy the stock market and get out of gold? Why? Because they were 1-to-1. Gold was 800 and the Dow was 800, right? Okay, so since 1980, yes, if you go back that far, the Dow has outperformed, right? But this is why you got to get into gold now, because the Dow is extremely expensive and gold is ridiculously cheap, right? At 2,700. 40,000 on the Dow, 2,700. Just like 1980, they're going to go back to 1-to-1. Now, will it be 40,000 and 40,000? Probably not. Will the market come all the way down to 2,700? Probably not. My guess is they'll probably meet somewhere in the middle, around 10 to 15,000. Now, that's why you want to be in gold and you want to be out of the Dow. This is just my take. Dow extremely expensive, gold extremely cheap, right? Okay, but the reason you want to do all of this is because of the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve is not your friend. They don't care about you. They don't care about me. All they're trying to do is stay in power, and they're going to have to print money into oblivion, right? And that's going to make the gold price go up. Now, maybe they both meet at 100,000. Dow 100,000, gold 100,000. It's a possibility. Depends if we hyperinflate or not. Now, let's talk a little bit about this. Right now, what are we? 37 trillion in debt. We have 120 trillion unfunded liabilities. I know we're pushing up towards $200 trillion that we don't have, right? So here's the thing. There's really 3 options. 3 options. And only 3 options. You think of a fourth, you put it down there. But okay, government, they could default on the debt, right? They could just say, no, we're not going to pay the bondholders. That is never going to happen. Not politically correct. Not going to happen. Here's the other thing we could do. We could cut spending, okay? You could cut spending, right? You could cut out there's only 4 places you can cut that make any difference. All the others are too small. You could cut out Social Security, cut it in half. Not popular, right? Cut out Medicare, Medicaid, cut those in half. Not going to happen, right? Okay, well, you cut defense, right? Well, with all the wars going on, they want to ramp up the defense because that's what they're going to push us to when they do the reset. Now, why is there going to be a reset, Tallman? Because the 4th thing that they could cut is interest rates. Interest rates, right? Okay, so they could cut the interest payments, right? Right now, 1 out of every $4 we collect go into paying the interest. 1 out of every $4. Soon it's going to be 2 out of every $4. Half the money you pay in taxes go to pay the interest, right? We don't get anything for it. So they have to figure a way to cut the interest rates. Now they have to cut it back all the way to 0, right? Because we can't afford anything, and they actually got to bring it negative. Now, how are they going to bring it negative at all, Mike? They're going to do it with what's called the CBDC, the central bank digital currency. That's how we're going to get this to go negative. We're going to go negative on interest rates, right? But this is how it resets, though. You see, it's going to reset into the CBDC when everything crashes, when everything blows up. Until that, we're just going to continue on the same road that we're on, where the Fed prints a ton of money, right, and pays everything, and money becomes worth less and less, and your gold becomes worth more and more. Gold will continue to outperform the stock market like it's doing this year. Stock market not really going up. Stock market is down in terms of real money. Why? Because they keep printing money to make the stock market go up, but gold sniffs this out and it goes up faster. If you're not in gold, you're actually losing out, right? Even if you're in the stock market. If you're in bonds, you're really losing out. You're getting 4% return when gold's giving you a 40% return, 10 times more money. Gold is having a little bit of a pullback. I don't know how far the pullback's going to go. I'm hoping it gets down to 2,500, but I don't know if it will. A lot of people calling for 2,100. We'll see if that happens. That'd be great. But here's the thing. To get this reset happening, we're going to continue to print the money until it starts to blow up. Now, when's it going to blow up, Tall Mike? It's going to blow up when people get away from the dollar as the reserve currency. We're losing reserve currency status right now. We're losing it, okay? The BRICS, they just had their meeting. No, they're not rolling it out yet. And it's not going to be a currency like me and you use. It's just going to be a settlement between countries. But what that does is it takes away dollars needed to be in the settlement, right? Now, in the central banks, they used to have like, I don't know, 77% in dollars. Now they're down to 58%. It's dropping. So all these dollars are going to come flooding back into the United States. This will help the hyperinflation that gets going, right? But they don't want to be blamed for this, so they have to do something to protect the reserve currency, right? Now the Donald Trump, right? If he gets in, he says, what? He's going to do tariffs, right? 100% tariffs on any country that doesn't take dollars, that operates outside of the system. He's going to place 100% tariffs on them, right? And there's like 30 countries now that are in the BRICS. He's going to have to place the tariffs on all these countries. Is that going to make these countries happy, or is it going to make them angry? I think it's going to make them angry. It's going to move them away from the dollar at a quicker pace, right? But eventually they have to push us into a war, right? They have to protect the reserve currency, and they have to do it any way they can. And this scares me because we have nuclear power now, nuclear war, nukes. We're going to shoot those off in bombs. A lot of people are going to die when this happens. When the debt bubble pops, a lot of people are going to die, and most of them are going to die by us trying to defend the reserve currency by going to war with every nation that won't accept the dollar for the reserve currency. But do you see the problem that's happening? There's going to be a reset. There has to be a reset. But until then, nobody knows when that's going to happen. We're just going to plug along, printing money into oblivion. I think we're going to get up to, we're at 4 trillion extra a year. 4 or 5 trillion right now is what we're doing every year. So 10 years, 50 trillion, right? But it's at a continuing pace. It's at 5 trillion now. It'll be at 10 trillion next year, 15 trillion, 20 trillion. When we start to hyperinflate, it gets real ugly real fast, right? Right now it's going slowly. And then it's just going to shoot up, right? It's just going to take off. It's going to be scary. A lot of people are going to die. It's not going to be a pretty world at that time. I don't want gold to be 20,000, 40,000, because I know what the world will look like at that point. Yes, it's going to happen. Gold's going to shoot up. It's going to continue to outperform the stock market. It's going to continue to be the #1 performing asset because people want to get something real when they see the dollars going away. Yes, stock market's going to maybe it continues to go up, right? But in real terms, it's going to be going down, right? It's going to be collapsing. Your house is going to be going down. In real terms, they're going to hyperinflate this sucker. Now, can houses go down with gold still going up? Absolutely can. Look at 2008, right? 2008 to 2012, what happened? The houses went down by 34%. 34%. This time it's going to be bigger because the bubble's bigger, right? It's bigger than 2008. It's a bigger bubble. It's going to drop more than 34%. I've been saying 40, that might be conservative. Look at, I know I own a house, right? I got my house paid off. It's going to drop 40%. I still have my house. But a lot of people have mortgages. When it dropped by 40, 50%, they're going to lose their house. A lot of people are going to lose everything when this reset happens. People don't like to hear this. It's the real stuff, right? But this happens when the reset happens. When the dollar is no longer worth anything. When, yes, maybe the stock market stays up here. But when you cash out, you get dollars, right? And you can't buy anything with the dollars. Gold is going to take off. It's going to be 5,000, 10,000. 20,000. It's going to be the currency, right? It's going to be real money. It has value. It has purchasing power. I do not know why you leave your purchasing power in the bank. There's a quiet revolution going on where we pull our money out of the banking system and we buy real money with it, gold and silver. A lot of people say that's un-American, Tom Mike. I would beg to differ. Look, if our founding fathers could look at our government now, they would be rolling over in their graves for real, man. This is terrible. Look, the only thing that's money is by the Constitution is gold and silver. So taking your money out of the banking system and buying some real money is not un-American. I would say that is the patriot thing to do, and that's what everybody should be doing because it's a quiet revolution. Take away the power from these evil politicians and take it back into purchasing power in your own hands. This is just my take. Maybe I got a little carried away today. Get out there, everybody. Have a great weekend. We'll talk again real soon. Bye-bye now.